Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast and Independent Showcase. So this is episode 2 of the Independent Showcase, but it's someone that you would have seen many times or heard, depending on how you watch or listen to this podcast. We're going to do the end of year review with Ignite Wrestling, which means only one person is joining me for this, unlike the 3 that we had yesterday on a review show that we done. It is the Ignite General Manager himself, CJ Carter. I say good morning. It's early doors, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's early enough. I've been up since 6, been to the gym, been back, jumped in the shower. So I got, not that early. But yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Now, always looking forward to talking to you. And yeah, 6. I was up at 6 as well, actually. Fair enough. Not in the gym though. Nowhere near the gym. We're not like you, CJ. These retired wrestlers, they're still going. He's still going strong.
Some of them.
Some of them in the gym. Let's get in. 2024 at Ignite. Sum it up for me.
Well, I tell you what, it was our first full year as,
Mhm.
with our partnership with Hitting the
Yeah.
Turnbuckle and Ignite. And I feel like we kind of we started something big last year, and this year the goal was to grow on that. And I think we have done that. I think we've done that. I think we've kind of between Hitting the Turnbuckle and Ignite, I feel like we've solidified kind of Ignite, maybe upper rung on the ladder of Brit Rest. And we brought in some more well-known talents this year, and we've had some great feuds. But I really feel like the like progressing on from last year with your help, I feel like that's kind of the summer. That's kind of like encapsulates the year, I think. And then yeah, I guess in some ways we've been a victim of our own success a bit, in that a lot of the talents we've used have now gone on to are starting to go on to bigger and better things. So be interesting to see where that rolls into next year, and whether we will have all of our roster next year. But yeah, that's kind of, I think, how I'd sum it up. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I think this year has been great. I've loved every single message that we send. And believe me, guys, we send messages nearly every day for anyone that needs to know. We talk about stuff all the time, whether it's wrestling in general or whether it's actually Ignite Hitting the Turnbuckle stuff that we do together. We send a lot of messages, and yeah, I've loved it. Again, it's open. I always said the first sort of the back end of the year before was the eye opener. With me and my 4 billion ideas of trying to book a WWE show using with independent stuff, which I got come to realize quite quickly was never going to happen. And I think it's just gone from strength to strength. I've really enjoyed it. I feel as if, as you said, we've taken it up, or Ignite have taken it up a notch. Certainly, obviously with the Turnbuckle's help, we've had the talents we've brought in have been bigger as well. And yeah, definitely victims of the own success. I feel that is a definite headline or clip that we could use for this with the talent. I mean, that's not even just from this year. I mean, the talent that is getting the recognition now has been some of the mainstays that you've had from day
Yeah.
one. When you look at the Bryants, you look at Taylor James, and the Mark Trues was there or thereabouts anyway. But we've now seen that. But even some of the ones that we've just started to bring in as going on elsewhere, and you have to credit Ignite for that, even though, as you say, it's a bit of a victim of own success.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, we've had Mark True since show 2, and we've had the Bryants with us. Well, certainly Nino since show 1, and Xander not long after that. And Egan's obviously been coming in now as well. And Taylor's been with us since show 1 as well. And we had Jay Joshua all of last year with us. And these are all now people who you're starting to see on shows like Rev Pro regularly. And I'm sure next year you're going to see them on even more kind of Rev Pro shows. And even you've got like, I mean, I didn't even mention their CPF. I guess we had Joe since show 1, and Danny was on show 2, and we even had Danny with us at Clash prior to Ignite. That I think they were the first ones to be very evident they were going to blow up and be huge. Even as we were starting Ignite, they were both starting to get a reputation, and very quickly they were the first two to kind of, I don't say move on because they've come back again now, but they were the first two to make it really big, and it was great to see. And they kind of went away for a little bit, and then recently over the last sort of like was certainly they were with us almost every show last year, I think.
Near enough. Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, we've managed to get them back in again. And I feel like maybe that's what will happen with some of the other talents as they start to pick up a lot more regular bookings at places like Progress and Rev Pro and TNT. And look, it's great to see. And to be honest, when I started Ignite, it was a little bit of a change from Clash. Clash was, we still had talents in there who were underutilized and not didn't have as much exposure, but we used from the get go more what you would class as bigger names on the scene. And when I started Ignite and switched it over, one of my main goals was to fill the cards with people who weren't being seen as much, and hopefully be a part of getting them some exposure and growing their careers. Because it was something I struggled with when I was wrestling, is getting that, just getting your foot in the door somewhere, or getting those. All you need sometimes is one big match. Like Taylor worked Oku for us at Buckle Up, our first joint show, the first Buckle Up, and I would like to believe that had a little bit to do with him eventually getting onto Rev Pro, and being able to give people like Mark True like a match with Crowley and things like that, and Jacobs and Corey. That was always the goal with Ignite, to bring people in, to give them those showcase matches, to give them exposure when they weren't necessarily getting it everywhere, and hopefully progress their careers. And so it's worked, right? I feel like I don't want to, blow my own trumpet or anything, but I feel like what I set out to achieve has kind of worked. I think you could look at one of the Rev Pro shows that happened a few weeks ago, and you look at the card. Someone even mentioned it on X, right? They said, "Wow, this is an Ignite card." Like,
Yeah, they
I
did.
think every match bar one had someone in it who had been on our shows, and multiple matches had people who'd been on our show since day one. So I think that says everything you need to know about what we've managed to achieve with those talents.
Oh,
I guess
definitely so.
the big challenge now is, how do we how do we keep some of those people, but also how do we find the next crop of BritWres stars? That's what I think 2025 is going to be about, and yeah, hopefully we can do that.
I think we will, because you mentioned, and we'll get into it right now, 2025, what's going to happen in 2025. Well, one of those things is bringing back the breakout, which I think now is very much needed.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously that was on the sheet of ideas when I started Ignite. Breakout was right at the top. First thing, I was like, right, not only do I want to bring in people who are amazingly talented and have been working for a while, like Taylor James, and try and get them a bit more exposure. I want to be able to give people who are kind of even newer than that, maybe only a year into their careers, and give them kind of a platform on our shows to show what they can do. And that, if they impress the fans and me, they could become regulars on Ignite, and hopefully we can grow them in that way. And that's where Smashing Mike started. That's where Nino Bryant started. That's where Taylor James started. That's where Mark True started. That's where Xander Bryant started. And we've also had Harrison Leon in there and Jackson Hart, who I'd like to see back again as well. And yeah, so the first kind of 2 years of doing that, we brought in some incredible people. And of course, I didn't even mention Chris Aries as well, obviously, who won the second year of the breakout. And how could I miss his name? Obviously, former Ignite champion. And what we did again, that was a kind of almost a victim of his own success in a way. In the first 2 years, we built so many Ignite regulars out of that breakout division that there wasn't space to slot it in last year, because that we'd filled the card with people who'd been with us since day one and the first 2 years worth of the breakout division. And so it was like, how do we squeeze these matches in with everyone we've already got? And it was tricky. But what I've said is in 2025, next year, I don't care how hard it is. I don't know how we do it or what we've got to do, even if that means maybe we have to squeeze an extra match in sometimes. I want that breakout division back, because it's a passion of mine. It's something I feel very strongly about. And so you will see, obviously, some of the matches have been announced for Chapter 4 already, and you will see coming up very soon the return of the breakout division starting at Chapter 4 in February.
And I'm looking forward to that. I love seeing these names and newer names, and then it's kind of a nice, as you say, it's kind of victim of your own success thing. But when you see a talent debut at Ignite and they go on and they become a regular, and you mentioned Chris Aries, you probably forgot about him because he changed his name halfway through the year, formerly Adonis Payne. But you look at someone like him, and like he come in. he wins it. You see them grow. They nurture their talent. They become a regular, and then they do end up getting that call. And I suppose in a lot of ways, it's like I don't know if you want to call it a bird and their little where they fly, they get their wings and fly
Yeah,
away.
exactly that. They
But,
fly the nest, and lots of them have flown the nest, and some have come back, and more are now starting to fly the nest. And it just so happens that it seems, whereas before it might have been like with Joe and Danny,
yeah,
you get a couple of them go on, and okay, you fill those slots. What seems to be happening at the moment is lots are going on at the same time,
yeah,
and great. So this just we just, I mean, even uh, it's going to be hard to pin down some of those people over the next year and certainly 18 months. So the breakout division is going to be a great place for us to bring some new talent in to Ignite, and we're very much on the lookout for new talent. Obviously, we went and watched the show a
yep.
few days ago, and with the main aim of scouting some new talent, that's going to be, I think, the big thing for next year. The breakout division, looking for some new talent who can come in and fill in those gaps where others have flown the nest and gone on to bigger and better things. And hopefully we'll get those talents back as well. There's not to say they'll never be back. It's just that they might not be on every show because they're going to be booked up far more than they were. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely so. And as you say, but the wheels will keep moving, the machine keeps rolling on. And the first subject I need to talk about, well, it's kind of a big subject for us at the moment, is the Turnbuckle Championship, the Turnbuckle
Yeah.
title. This year, look, we let's just try and pull the curtain back a little bit. With the Turnbuckle title, for me, it's always been about helping the champion or giving the champion matches that will improve themselves. And I will quote Mike. We gave him Eddie Dennis February of this year.
February, yeah, chapter
Yeah.
3. Yeah.
Chapter three, start with Eddie Dennis, and I will never forget Mike's words upstairs. He was like, "I've learned more in that match than I've done pretty much in any match that he's ever had." And obviously, that's testament to Eddie Dennis and the guy that he is. But when I want with that title, that's the kind of what I want to do with it. I wanted to give the champion some as bigger names as we can get in, obviously, because it's nice for the crowds to see the bigger names. It's different names, but it's also names that's going to help the champion at the time. Eddie Dennis gave Mike a great match. James Ellis gave Mike a totally different match. But
Yeah.
James Ellis is another one who, as we know, will probably blow up in 2025.
I think he already has
He already has. Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
mean, I'm sure there is like there is more to come from him, but he's there like very much. Yeah. And that was, yeah, two very different matches though for Mike at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he learned I mean, Eddie's we might not appreciate me calling him a veteran, but he is a veteran of the scene, I'm sure. And he has, he has as much knowledge as everyone else on that card combined, I would say. So yeah, for you to be able to help us bring him in and to suggest him to come and wrestle Mike, it was great for Mike, great for the show, and great for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and then July happens, and we need to talk about that separately as well because obviously booking a show on the European Cup final wasn't.
I forgot.
We'll
God,
talk,
I forgot that was the final with England in the final, of course.
yeah, we'll
That
talk
was,
about that separately. But then the championship had its first title change.
yeah.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on the way you want to look at it, Mark True ends up winning the championship, pinning Mike Clean. We always said, we've said that from day one. We did have shenanigans in April that we both had to get involved in when James
Yeah.
kind of won the championship for a brief moment, and we wouldn't allow, well, the championship was never going to change hands in that way. So Mark did pin Mike Clean. Mike maybe made his own downfall there by not pinning him when he had the job, maybe when he had the match won. And then we started to give Mark some more different opponents. A lot of them being CPF. We've done it in a four-way. We've done it in a tag match.
Hmm.
We will this week be speaking to Mark. Well, by the end of this week, I will have to announce what's going on if Mark is showing up. So, for those of you that don't know, Mark, well, he threw the title at me in November, said he wasn't coming back. We let cooler heads prevail. Christmas is out the way. We'll get New Year out the way at the start of the week, and then we'll have another chat with Mark. But other than that, though, the championship going on to Mark has given us a different type of match to have with Mike. Mike is very much crowd favorite, crowd heavy. He will
Yeah.
get that crowd going. Everyone hates Mark. That's no surprise. But when that bell goes off pound for
Oh,
pound in the ring, there's not many people better than Mark at Ignite.
no. And I think you're right in that everyone hates him. You've got a love-hate relationship with him yourself. You know, the second his little face pops out through that curtain, the whole crowd are on his case. But I think if you asked every single person in the crowd every show if they respected him as a talent, they would all say yes.
Yeah.
And he's had some of our best matches we've ever had. And he's, you know, well, you put him to the test right from the get go. And I guess that, you know, that is part of what the championship's about. I think I remember you saying when we first started together, it was that you wanted it to be like a workhorse championship and you wanted it to showcase in-ring ability. And Mark has seen you kind of stacking the deck with a four-way and then a tag match with his title on the line as well, a sign of disrespect. Whereas I think maybe you and I have seen that as us trying to give him some of the best talents in the country. So obviously we brought JJ Gale in for his debut. Yeah. He made a big impression. That's someone again I'd love to see back next year. Obviously, he's a regular in Rev Pro, so trying to work that around our dates, which can often clash because they're both Sundays, is tricky. So I would like to see him back. But we brought JJ Gale in, big debut, one of the best in the country. Both Joe and Danny in there as well. I mean, all four of those are now Rev Pro regulars. You know, Joe, Danny, and True also on Progress. It doesn't get much better than that in terms of in-ring quality. And that's what we wanted to see. And he still came out on top. We then had the tag match with the title on the line in a tag dream match that we all thought would be something spectacular for Ignite and for wrestling fans. And that's what we saw it as, a dream match, a match that would be inside the ring, top quality. He came out on top again, but for you know, he's seen, I think, those matches as a sign of disrespect. Instead of getting some singles matches, he feels like we're trying to make things harder than they should be for him. And that's led to him launching the belt at you on the last show and telling the fans to stick it and telling everyone that he doesn't want to come back and defend that title anymore. So like you said, we're going to have to speak to Mark. We have to work out what happens at chapter 4. We will work something out. And if he's not there and the title's not there, we'll make sure there's a huge match with the hitting the turnbuckle banner across it, and it will be something special regardless of whether Mike and the title's there or not. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely so. We'll do that. You talked about great matches, and as you know, we've been running some polls on our social media. Mark didn't get the best match of the year. The match behind me did.
Yeah.
Not really a surprise. We're giving the 4. You can't see Nino, but he's behind my head. But it was the Bryants versus CPI. But look, there's been a lot. You could, you know, we put 3 matches up there. We could have put 6 or 8 matches up there. That was testament. But I think if you had a match that epitomized Ignite Wrestling in 2024, it was the one behind me.
Yeah, I mean, this was something real special. I remember when it happened, it got a fair amount of like, traction and buzz online, especially on X. A lot of people talking about it being the best Ignite match of all time, not just of the year. I listened to a couple of podcasts of people reviewing the show and the match, and they said that it would have fitted into any promotion in the country and probably been the best show on their cards as well. And I think it just goes to show that recently when Rev Pro did their trios tournament, this match, obviously you add in Leland on one side and Mayhew on the other side, was what many people said was one of the matches of their tournament and the match of the show that they were on. So for us to get there and having to have it first, I think is special and shows what we've managed to achieve at Ignite. As I said, Nino's been with us since show 1. So is Joe. Danny's been with us since show 2, and so Xander. So I would say, you know, originals of Ignite. By the time we got to this year, they were some of the best in the country, and that's what this match really showed. Yeah, it was just. I mean, I don't know how it will be topped, but that's the goal for next year. We've got both Joe and Danny back next year, so who can we bring in for them to have some more incredible tag matches? I will obviously be having all the Bryants hometown boys on as many shows as we can get them on. We've already announced their match for February, which is against Taylor James, the briefcase holder, the Call Your Shot briefcase holder, and the in-ring debut of his henchman, Tom Mercer. So, yeah, I mean, it was just special. It was special for so many reasons. As I said, the fact that they've been with us since almost day one, the fact that they've now gone on to put this match on even bigger platforms, and yeah, it really did showcase what Ignite's all about. This one.
Yeah, it definitely did. More on the awards later. Yeah, let's sour the tone a little bit and talk about a certain Truman Roswell, if we
Oh, right,
have
yeah.
to. Someone that come in decided that, it was a conspiracy. He was on show one, I believe, never been
Very,
booked.
yeah. Show
Um,
one.
yeah,
He
and
wrestled Tim Lee on our very first show, and won that match. And for a number of reasons, he just hadn't been back. And yeah, sorry, you carry on. Yeah,
yeah, and then decided that it was a conspiracy, come back, then decided to attack poor Tig, who was doing our raffle at the time, and then attack one of the Bryants, which led to Nino Bryant getting involved. That was then Truman's kind of, well, I'll fight him if I win, I'm back on the card or the back on the roster. Amazingly, he did pick up the victory. You obviously there was shenanigans involved in that. Pulled I think it was Leland out when Nino was diving out. So you decided then to make it a no DQ match. Just let the show just gone
yep,
in November. That was probably again, if you haven't seen that when it goes on YouTube, I'd go, it's probably one of the best no DQ matches of all time. Maybe we should have called it Extreme Rules. And yeah, that was just had everything, had tables, kendo sticks, you name it, it had it. Nino picked up the win. You counted the free,
yep,
but he decided at the end of that, Truman, to attack your good self. And in
yeah.
February, he's apparently come into chapter four to confront you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, true. I mean, we couldn't talk about 2024 without talking about Truman Roswell. He's been a thread through almost the entire year. He showed his face for the first time since 2021 in April at Full Throttle. Um, Obviously unbooked, unannounced, decided to rock up and take matters into his own hands. He feels like he's been left in the dark for too long at Ignite. It's been a while, to be fair. He makes some valid points. I can't deny that. But the way he's gone about it, obviously, it's not the way you get onto shows. And yeah, attacking staff, attacking ring crew in Leland Bryant, who's been helping him with us on our shows, and which led to, of course, the match with Nino, and he won via getting Leland involved in low blows, and we got to the big blow off match, which was incredible. What a way to end the year. Nino came out victorious, which is what I think, I don't want to be too biased, but it's what we want to see after everything that Truman's done this year. And Nick, our ref, our beloved ref, was taken
Yeah.
out chair shot mid match. So there was no one to count the three. And obviously, with me being general manager, I kind of feel like I have the power to come out and do that. So I counted the three. And Truman wasn't too happy about that and decided to jump me from behind. Thankfully, we had all three Bryants down there, and they made the save, and we sent him packing, which is what we like to see and what the fans like to see. But he's decided that's not the end of it, and yet again, by the time we rolled around to February, it'd be nearly a full year since he showed his face, and he's still not happy about what's going on, despite the fact he has managed to worm his way back on to the cards and in the roster by beating Nino in that first match. So I don't know what more he wants. He's back on the roster. He's been given matches. He lost the match. Just because I counted the three doesn't change that. Doesn't make that conspiracy. But he's obviously decided in his crazy Truman head of his, whatever world it is he lives in, that I've got it in for him, and I don't want him on these shows. You might be right, but anyway, that's a different story. And if he wants to come out and confront me in February, he's welcome to do that. But what he needs to understand is I'm retired. I have a back injury. I have issues with my discs in my back. I can't wrestle. I can't be cleared to wrestle, and I won't. I just won't do that. I won't risk that. I won't risk permanent long-term injury where I might lose my ability to walk or have more issues in my life and can't spend time with my kids. And I'm just not willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that for Truman, for sure. So he can call me out and he can say whatever it is he wants to say and get in my face. But he won't be dragging me into a match. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's say I don't think Truman's got the guts to do that anyway, to be quite honest. But we'll see. We'll see what he has to say for himself. I'm sure he's got a long list of things he wants to get off his
Yeah,
chest.
I'm sure he has. He's not short for words, is Truman. So I'll listen and we'll see what he's got to say. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, let's move away from him anyway. Let's get out of it. Let's now talk about this. Yeah, the show that we jointly put on together. Buckle Up 2's a little
Yep.
excitement. Buckle Up 1 sold out in the books. We decided to do Buckle Up 2. Now, stupidly, between all of us that work at Ignite, we picked the date. And then about 2 months later, we got the message, oh, by the way, that's the date of the European Championships final.
yep.
And of course, we didn't think. Well, we assumed England, although they were favourites for the tournament, we didn't think that they would probably get there. But in our back of our minds, we probably thought sod's law that they would, and they did. They managed to do it. So we look. We had to do some things. We had to pull some strings. We had to shorten some bits and pieces that we had. We had a stacked card. A lot of them coming up from, I believe, North Wrestling was the show the night before. We
Yep.
decided to bring in Luke Jacobs. We'll talk about him more later, but. We managed to squeeze two more chairs into Shenley Road to make it the sellout of sellouts, selling out from last year. But it was once again a great success, and we loaded that card from top to bottom. But Buckle Up for me was incredible and beat the first one. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, absolutely. The first one was incredible. And it was the first time we at Ignite had ever done anything on that scale. And then between us, we wanted to try and top that this year. And I think we did. We brought in more talents. We brought in even bigger names. Luke Jacobs at the time was the Progress and Rev Pro champion by the time he came in for us. And yeah, we had names like Lycos 2 and Charles Crowley, and we got Connor Mills back, and Luke Jacobs makes his debut. It was something real special. And yeah, we sold out. Yeah, again, 2 years in a row, sell out. We managed to squeeze a few more chairs in this time. I don't think we'll be doing that again next year. I think we are literally at capacity with
Yeah.
that. But to be able to sell out that show, over 200 people in what is essentially a library in the middle of Bournemouth is just incredible. And to have names of the caliber of Luke Jacobs on our show. And we had Michael Oku the first year, which was also huge, and he was Rev Pro champion at the time. So 2 years in a row, we've had the Rev Pro champion on Buckle Up. And I'd love to see both of those names back, if I'm honest. They're two of, if not they're probably the best two in the country right now, actually. Like, I wouldn't say what two of the best, they are the best, I think. So if we could get them back, that would be incredible, but can't promise anything. But yeah, it was something real special. And obviously that was the show where we had two title changes as well. So as we mentioned earlier, Mark True defeated Mike, and he did it without cheating as well. So
Yeah.
as much stick as you get sometimes, he is a talent, and he was just better than Mike on that day. But he managed to focus himself and decide that he's had enough. That was the third of a trilogy with those three, and Mike had won the previous two. So Mike obviously had his number, and for whatever reason, True just couldn't get past that mental block of beating Mike, and he managed to do it and walked out the second ever turnbuckle champion. And obviously that was the night that also Tommy Kyle, the Maverick, the absolute Maverick, became Ignite champion, beating Chris Aries, who was Adonis Payne at the time, and Gene Money, who made his return as well, who is also a former champion. Although I only held the title for about 5 minutes, unfortunately, thanks to Aries cashing in his at the time was the breakout division title shot, and left 2023 as champion, and he entered this year as champion, and he's had some great matches as well. That was one of them. He's kind of had a feud with Tommy Kyle this year, which culminated in that match. And yeah, to have two new champions crowned, to have debuts like Luke Jacobs on the show, it was something real special. And to do that on the day, to sell out that place and everyone to turn up as well on the day that England are playing in a final. Look, it was very stressful. It was, for me, I'll be honest, it was the most stressful show I've ever run, because once I found out that it was the Euro final the same day, I kind of felt like it was just going to be our luck that England were going to make the final. And even though there was a couple of hours between the end of the show and the kickoff time, were people going to want to do parties? Were people are going to want to travel into London and get around, watch it together in London? Are people going to want to travel somewhere else and be with other family and friends to watch the show? And what's that going to mean for our show? Are people leading up to it? Were people going to buy tickets still? And if they did get tickets, if England made the final, were they going to show up? And you just don't know what's going to happen. And thankfully, not only England did make the final, but we sold out and everyone turned up, and it was an absolutely incredible show that has kept that kind of record going. So next year, it'd be great to try and do that again and see what we can achieve. Number 3, I guess.
So yes, for everyone that wonders, yes, it is happening. Buckle up. Is it Therese? I don't know. Buckle up 3. It is indeed happening.
Or trois? I don't know.
Yeah, buckle up and toi is happening. Date. Well, we can that. Yeah, fuck it. Let's announce it. September 25th. Is it the 25th? Hang on now. Now you got me.
21st.
Thank you. September the 21st. We're doing it one more time. The hat trick of shows. Buckle Up 3 will indeed be happening. But just going back to Buckle Up 2 a minute, you mentioned a certain debut there, and we run a poll of debut of the year. Will Cruz, before I get to that, your debut was in 2023, lad, but you didn't end up winning because you run 2 polls, one on Instagram and one on X. You won the X one, Will, yes, you did. But when you total up the amount of percentages of winning, this man won it. It was Mr. Luke Jacobs, the man behind me. As you say, he was a double champion when he walked in. And when he walked out of Ignite, he also sent away somebody, that man being Corey McRae, who had the 14-month reign of champion, ended that reign, lost 2 number 1 contendership matches, decided that if he lost the match in July, that he would take some time away from Ignite. He didn't want to go out easy. We could have given him a throwaway match that he would have won to keep him. He wanted the best in the country. We gave him the best in the country, Mr. Jacobs, and he lost that match. So great, as you say, great debut for Luke. Hopefully he will come back. But more importantly, we lost yet another top name at Ignite.
Yeah. I mean, another big story of the year was Corey's kind of redemption story. Obviously, he lost the title at the very last show of 2023 to, as we mentioned, Gene Money, before Chris Aries came in and cashed in. He is our longest reigning champion. 14 months he held the title for. And this year was all about the start of the year anyway, was about his kind of redemption, trying to get back there. And he lost 2 number 1 contender title matches, one for the Ignite Championship and then one for the Turnbuckle Championship. And it was really starting to doubt himself. How has he gone from undefeated for 14 months, champion for 14 months, to losing back-to-back matches? What does that mean for him at Ignite? Is he as good as he felt like he was? There was a lot of doubt going on. So he asked both of us at July, at Buckle Up, I want you to give me the biggest test I've ever had. And if I can't get through it, maybe I'm just not good enough to be here anymore. And the man behind you there walked in, Luke Jacobs. It was a hell of a debut, as we mentioned. It was a hell of a match. It was an incredible match. Personally, one of the best we've had. Could have easily been match of the year. As you said, we could have had 15 matches on the list of match of the year. We had some great ones this year. This was one of them. But Luke came out on top after a hard-fought match. And afterwards, Corey left his metaphorical boots in the ring and left us. And we've not heard from him since. He's not been back since. Can't get hold of him. I don't know what's going on with him or what his future lies at Ignite. I would obviously love him back and love to see him back. I think the fans would love to see that as well. There's a lot of respect there for the reign that he had and the matches he's had for us. So I'd love to see him back, but I can't promise anything. And I don't really know what the future holds. But yeah, that was obviously a huge story of the year as well.
Certainly was. And for those of you that don't know, Corey McRae doesn't wear boots. That's where we say
Of course.
metaphorical
Yeah.
boots. He does indeed wear. He doesn't barefoot basically because of the type of wrestling that he does. By the way, the buckle up announcement will be going on be going on socials very shortly. Just to say that we've made the announcement, just to let people know that we are doing it one more time in September. But before we get there, look, I mean, we've had debuts. We mentioned Luke. Any particular other ones that you've enjoyed watching, or have they all been good for you this
In
year?
terms of debuts or just
Yeah.
matches?
Oh, let's do matches because that fits in quite nicely with another. Oh, we've already done the award for the best match, but yeah, match wise.
Well, I mean, I think the four-way with JJ Gale, Joe
Yeah,
Lando, Danny Black, and Mark True in September was incredible. That's right up there. The tag match we've mentioned, obviously, right up there. I also really enjoyed the Bryants versus True and Lacey, which was incredible. Tommy Kyle and Connor Mills absolutely tore the house down in September, and then the next match for Tommy was with Spike again, tore the house down, and Luna and Sapphire's got to be right up there. That
yeah.
that that's one of the most eye-opening matches I think a lot of people have seen at Ignite. I don't think everyone expected it to be. Everyone knew it'd be good, but I don't think everyone expected it to be as special as it was, as aggressive as it was, as intense as it was, and that could have easily been match of the year. And Luna's she's on a roll this year, so um, be interesting to see what she can achieve next year because she's won some big matches at Ignite. She's beaten Kira Kamira
Yeah.
in Street Fight. She's beaten Nina Samuels. She's beaten Sapphire. She's had she's had some real statement wins over the last couple of years, and she almost got a title shot at the start of the year. Obviously, we had triple threat with Corey, Aluna, and Tommy Kyle for the number one contendership, and that's where Tommy Kyle came out as the number one contender, and he's obviously now your champion. So she's been close. She's been very close to getting into those title shot spots, and I think next year, I'm sure that's where she's going. So yeah,
Yeah, she wants that title shot. She's been on at me about a title shot as well, as you know, you, Luna. Definitely well, she's definitely up there within the ranks. If we had a ranking system, we
yeah,
would use it, and it would definitely be up there. She would definitely be there or thereabouts. The women have been quite prevalent this year. You mentioned Sapphire, Rita, Luna. I don't think that's finished. I still
no,
Sapphire
still
won't
more
take
there.
that. Yeah, I think we're going to see more of Sapphire, but the women at Ignite have definitely done it this year. We've had the debut of Nightshade as well.
Of
She's
course,
made a
yeah. I mean, wow,
fantastic
what a
impression.
debut that was as well. She came out as the tag team partner of Sapphire, despite them having some issues at other promotions. And she made a real big impression. And she's again someone that I would love to see back next year. And maybe there's something there with her and Aluna as well. Obviously with Aluna pinning her in that tag match. So yeah,
Yes, more to come, as we say. Look, in terms of we done one more poll. I want to get this one out of the way. This was Wrestler of the Year. To be fair, it was with the matches that he put on, especially even before he become champion. We're talking about this man behind me. Before he become champion, he was putting on matches. The two that he's had
yeah,
since becoming champion have been absolutely, well, mind blowing. The one with Spike, I mean, we have to credit Spike with that as well. I mean,
yeah,
he debuted at Ignite. He had the crowd. I mean, he has crowd in the palm of his hands wherever he goes. But it was, I will never forget the ending of the last show with the kids around the ring, all smashing the mat with Tommy in the ring with the championship.
yeah.
That is a way to go off to end 2024 with that. But that man behind me has been
Yeah.
absolutely incredible for Ignite this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been his year. You can't deny that. He came back from injury last year after having broken his ankle at a show for Riot, and he was just starting to get on a roll at Ignite. He's been with us since day one. He is a true Ignite original, and just as he was getting rolling, he had that. It could have been a career-ending injury. It really could have been, but he didn't let it get to him. It didn't let it hold him back. And he came back in 2023 and he's rolled into this year with some incredible momentum. And what a year it's been. I just don't, I think it's the perfect perfect person to win Wrestler of the Year. I couldn't imagine it being anyone else with what he's achieved this year. Started it with that incredible triple threat match with Corey and Aluna, which just blew people away, and has gone on to have great matches after that with Chris Aries and then Chris Aries and G Money, where he won the title. But yeah, I think the two title defenses back to back have been the two best back to back title defenses we've ever had at Ignite. I don't think it's even close, to be honest. Corey had some incredible matches, but for those two to happen back to back with Mills in September and then Spike Trivet in November, they would have been, slotted perfectly into place in a main event slot on any promotion in the country without a shadow of a doubt. Two very different matches as well. If you look at them, the match with Mills is already on our YouTube channel, and the Curtain Call free show will go up very soon. It'll be up before the next show for sure. So check that out as well when it goes up. But if you watch them and you see, obviously September was like a technical masterclass, and Tommy showing that he can, in the ring, between the ropes, can do it all and hang with the best technical wrestlers there are around. And he came out on top in that one. And then to go in with Spike, who's a very different type of wrestler who is brutal and nasty and vicious, and just ground Tommy down for the whole match. And Tommy was fighting from underneath big time in that one. And every time he seemed to get going, Spike had him back down again. And, look, he's the longest reigning Progress champion. So it's no surprise that he would come in and give Tommy such a big test. And somehow, yet again, Tommy came out on top. And I think just the combination of how good those matches were, but also how much punishment he took in that match with Spike really got people off of their feet at the end of that one. And it's up there. There are two moments in Ignite that will stay with me forever, that I feel like are just, the most kind of heartwarming moments and make, special moments. It's when Mike won a turnbuckle championship and his family got in the ring with him. Yeah. And that was such an incredible moment at the end of September in 2023. And then to see all the kids in the crowd get up around that ring when Tommy had finally beaten Spike Trivet, slapping the mat for him and cheering for him and slapping his hand and just wanting to get near him, touch him. As soon as Tommy got out of the ring, they just surrounded him. They all wanted pictures with him, and he deserves that. There aren't many people who deserve it more than this. I don't think there's anyone on the Ignite roster that deserves it more. He's really grinded it out since the very beginning, and he's shown why he is the champion, and he's shown why he deserves to be in those spots, and the fans have just taken him under their wing, and they love him. And to end the year with that couldn't be any more special for him or for us, I don't think.
No, I think it was the fitting way to end the year. But we have to talk about Chapter 4. And now Tommy has got, once again, yet another, well-traveled opponent. And actually, I think if I've got the dates right, he could be Progress champion at the time of him coming into it. I can't quite remember. He won a certain match yesterday at Progress. I'm not going to actually. Yeah, he won the match called the Thunder Bastard, which is Money in the Bank, should we say? And he said that the next show he would take on Jacobs. So that man is Tate Mayfairs. Now he will be wrestling, as I said, for Tommy Kyle. He's going to come in and have Tommy's first match of 2025. Someone who's been on AEW TV. He's gone to Uganda. He's gone worldwide name now in wrestling. But again, it shows the growth of Ignite that, hey, look, it's easy to us to say throw out names out there. Names have to want to come in to wrestle at Ignite. And you've got one of the best currently, again, in the country coming in February.
Yeah, again, it's great for us to be able to bring people in like Tate Mayfairs, like we mentioned with Luke Jacobs and Michael Oku before that, and Eddie Dennis at the start of this year, and James Ellis. To get these people in, it does so much for Ignite, and it means so much to us that they want to come and work our shows. But obviously, bringing in someone of the caliber of Tate Mayfairs, who has been over to America now, made a name for himself over there, and has started traveling the world, and is now looking at a title shot of Progress. he's not just going to roll in to Ignite for any old match. He's not just going to come in and face anybody. And he wanted the champion. He wanted to come in and make a statement right from the get go. And he probably wants to leave with that championship as well. And it's another huge test for Tommy Carl. What a way to kick off next year for him. I'm sure he'll make it, whatever the result, I'm sure he'll make it 3 classic title matches in a row, because that's what he does. He's real special in the ring, but it's going to be another huge test and another different type of wrestler. Like you look at a Mills, you look at Spike Travay, and now Tate Mayfair is different again. Going to get a lot more showmanship, I think, in there, a lot more arrogance. But he does, like with True, he does have the talent to back it up. So yeah, very much looking forward to his debut, and I'm sure it will be another classic title defense from Tommy Kyle. And let's see who leaves with the title, I guess, as we roll into the show after that.
Yeah, we will indeed. Look, final thoughts of the year from me, then I'll hand it over to you. Then we'll do the bit of the ticket promotion as we do. It's been another great year for us together as a team. And look, we've done our thank yous already, but if someone told a 16-year-old or an even 6-year-old Adam that by the time you'd hit 40, you will be doing what I'm doing with you guys for Ignite, it is a dream come true, and you're helping me live my dream through the stresses, through the fun, through the whole of booking a show on a final of a stupid football tournament and everything else. I need, obviously, from everybody at Hitting the Turnbuckle, from Rachel, from Dave, from Andy, from everyone involved with us. It's a big thank you to you guys. I said this on socials that not many promotions open the door the way that you've opened, or should we say pull back the curtain? I don't know. What's ever better way?
Open the door and then pull back the curtain.
Open the door, pull back the curtain, and let a podcast come in and do what we do with you guys. It's been an incredible ride so far. I can't wait for 2025. But a big thank you to you, to Dan, to Charlie, to everyone associated with Ignite for making that possible for us. And we can't wait for next year. But what about your final thoughts, Chris, for
I just want
2024?
to say, thanks for everything you've done for us as well. Like I know you say how much it means to you, and that's great. It makes me, it's a great feeling to know that I can give a small part of something to someone. But like you've done so much for us since, like I was saying, like, that's real been the kind of like real theme of the year. Like you've helped us grow in a way I don't think we'd be able to grow without you. You've genuinely added so much value to the promotion and to the shows, and also just to have your mind on board, especially when it comes to a lot of the talents for the turnbuckle championship matches. Like there aren't many people that know the Brit Rest scene as well as you, I don't think. And certainly now I'm not an active wrestler anymore. I'd say you probably know it even better than me. So it's great to have you on board. It's great to work with you. And yeah, I mean, look, I think I'm quite a guarded person. I don't let a lot of people in. And so I guess at first it was like, oh, how's this going to work? But like, I couldn't imagine doing it without you anymore. And I couldn't imagine an Ignite show without Hitting the Turnbuckle being part of it. So yeah, thanks to you as well. And I'm hoping that next year we can just continue growing the promotion. And Buckle Up has been huge 2 years in a row. And as we've mentioned, it is going to be back next year. It may not be obviously we've done them in July previously. It may not be in July again. And I'll let you do the official announcement for what's going on there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to our partnership next year. Hopefully growing Ignite a bit more. Hopefully finding some new talents as well.
Yes.
Hopefully being able to use that breakout division again once more after a year sabbatical. It's back. That's a big thing going into next year. So we've got Buckle Up 3. We've got the return of the breakout division. What other debuts could we have? Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. But we can't go without saying Chapter 4, February the 9th. Yes, I am right with that. February the 9th. Tickets, I believe I've just checked this morning, first and second row. Well, first row is literally, there's one left. Second row is now extremely limited. But where can they get it? As if you don't know already, but where can you get those tickets from?
As always, ticket link is 96.eventbrite.co.uk, or you can go to any of our social channels where you will not only see ticket links, but you'll see all the match announcements, all the announcements for the shows. So you've got Ignite Wrestling Pro on Facebook, Ignite Wrestling Pro on YouTube, Ignite Rest Pro on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Ignite Wrestling Pro on Instagram. Go hunt us out, give us a follow. Check out our back catalogue of shows on YouTube if you want to know what we're all about. And yeah, 96.eventbrite.co.uk. That's where you'll get your tickets. They are, yeah, as Adam has said, front row is pretty much gone. But if you want that best seat in the house, there's one singular ticket left. You can grab
Yeah.
that. Very, very limited on second row. I think maybe 4 or 5 seats left in second row, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not many, and we're over 50% sold on all of the seats now. So 6 weeks to go. But if you want the best seats in the house, move fast. Join us as we kick off our fourth year, our fourth chapter as a promotion. Yeah, and I just want to say a big thank you to all the fans as well. I've said thank you
Yes.
to you, Adam, and to everyone that hit the turnbuckle, and it means the world to us to have you on board. But it also means the world to us to have the support we do from the fans. There are lots of fans who've been with us since day one, and we've built that kind of family along the way. And there's many now fans who we see every single show. And I just want to shout out to everyone who comes to every show and parts with their hard-earned money to buy a ticket to come and watch what we put on in Bournemouth, which is my hometown, and I feel very passionately about putting shows on there. And I want to see you. I'd like to see you all again next year, and I look forward to doing that and hopefully growing some more members of the Ignite family and getting some more fans in next year. So yeah, thank you to you. Thank you to all the fans that support us. Thank you to 96 Shenley Road for hosting us every time. And I'm looking forward to another year.
Indeed. Right. Take a breath because I need to inhale a breath before I can do what I've got coming up. So apologies to keep you for much longer, but I won't. I promise. Coming up on the podcast soon, Riot Cabaret will be joining us for a chat where the Independent Showcase continues. The greatest wrestler that ever lived, or the greatest man that ever lived, Austin Aries. I'm actually recording that later on today with Austin Aries. Big shout out, by the way, to my good buddy Jordan, who you may know as One Breezy. He's just announced Rob Van Dam for his podcast, so make sure you check out that when it comes available. Great get, Jordan. Well done on that one. NWA Spotlight comes back. We've got 2 NWA Spotlights coming back in the next few weeks. One with Black G's and the other one with someone that was famous from a series called The Wrestlers. She was Hollywood. She's now Hollywood. Haley J will be coming on podcast of 2 NWA series for me and Fiona. We got another ECW name as well. CW Anderson will be joining us this coming week as well as Rob Drake, someone else who we may have to look out for this year. I know he's based up in Manchester, but he will be one that's certainly looking for a 2025. A good friend of ours will be someone who Truman decided to attack quite recently. Tick will be coming on as well
Yeah.
to his plans for 2025. North Wrestling, who we mentioned, the people that we brought a lot of wrestlers down from Buckle Up, they'll be on as well. I think that is just about it for now. I mean, there is
That's
things in
that.
yeah, stacked. There is a few other things in the pipeline that I've spoken to you about that I can't say anything at this stage. But that one, if that one happens, and that will literally be the biggest guest ever. I don't know if I'll be able to top it. Very well, without a lot of hard work. But anyway, a big thanks to Shirley Martinez and Zach Knight for recent ones as well. But as Chris said, get your tickets to Chapter 4. We want to see you. As we said, we done the curtain call for Chapter 3. We start Chapter 4 in February. We want to see everyone there, and of course, everyone there throughout the year. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be a year of change in many ways. New faces coming in, as Chris mentioned, some coming out and coming back. But it is going to be a hell of a year for Ignite Wrestling. Make sure you are there. We will be there. He will be there. You be there. And we'll see you on the other side of 2025. Until then, everybody, big thanks to Chris. We'll see you soon. Take care. Buckle down. Stay safe.